Howie G, thank you for co-hosting tonight.
Anytime.
Good evening, everyone. Wait a few moments that people pop in. Little secret, I usually wait till hits 30 before I start. So we're 26. And after the secret teachings are shared, then the other 30 show up. So they're secret only to half of you. I think it's time to start, and I want to welcome you again to Mission Dharma, to Tuesday night sitting. As many of you who are willing to have your cameras on, the more we can have the feeling of being all together and as close to live as possible. Thank you. And just to add to that feeling of togetherness, I'd like to also invite anyone, everyone to unmute and say good evening to each other, say where you're calling in from if you're so inclined. And
Good evening. Glenn from San Francisco.
hello, Glenn. Glad you're with us.
Hi, everyone. Laura from Maryland.
Hello, Laura. Reliable.
Hello from, hello from Berkeley.
Hello, Margot. Love the outdoors.
And I'm Marty from Katati.
Hey, Marty. Great to see you.
Great to see you.
Cecilia from Scottsdale.
Hi, Cecilia. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're staying cool.
Yes, in my mind.
Ah, very good.
Donna in Tucson.
Hello, Donna. Same to you as far as staying cool.
Hello, Paul from Penn Valley, California.
Hello, Paul. Glad you're with us.
I'm Karen from Richmond, California.
Hi, Karen.
I'm Dan. I'm from Richmond, California too. Hey, Karen.
Great. I'm having some issues here.
It's like a game of concentration where, you get the two boxes that are from the same town, and then, it's like, you win the prize. Remember that game?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Glenn from Palm Desert, California.
Okay, Howie G, you have to put your computer on mute. Thank you.
John from Boulder.
Hi, John. Always happy to have you.
Rebecca from San Francisco.
Hey, Rebecca.
And it's Maureen from Regina, Canada.
Where are you? Oh, Maureen. Great, as always.
Dan from San Rafael.
Dan in San Rafael. Yay, Dan.
And Michael from Edmonton.
Hey, Michael. Can't wait to be up in Edmonton in a few weeks.
Carol from Berkeley.
Hey, Carol.
Lisa, San Francisco.
I couldn't hear that, but it sounded like San Francisco. Glad you're with us.
Noemi.
Hey, Noemi.
Hi.
And this is Amy in San Francisco.
Great. I'm glad we have the city represented tonight. Hi, Amy.
Hi.
Okay, Midsummer Night's Rest. Think of the words of Noshul Ken Rinpoche. He says, rest in natural great peace. This exhausted mind, beaten helpless by karma and neurotic thought. Like the relentless fury of the pounding waves in the infinite ocean of samsara. Rest in natural great peace. Rest. So this is an opportunity for us to rest our weary minds, but alertly in this natural great peace. Rediscovering the natural peace and ease that is the natural peace and ease of our nature. Easy to forget, easy to miss while we're busy trying to solve problems, figure things out, fix things. This is our opportunity to remember who we are, you could say. What is fundamentally natural to us, which is what Suzuki Roshi calls the ultimate truth that we are aware. And then to rest in this state of being aware. And then using all the methods of meditation to help support us to remain aware. The greatest support that's included in our method of practice is to rely on what the Buddha called this fathom-long body, to close our eyes and to feel our body. Let it call us here. Let our body bring us out of the tangle of the imagined past and the imagined future into an immediate and direct experience of life, right where it touches us. So once you've felt your sitting body, its form, shape, its aliveness, its aches and its pains, making space for each presently arising experience of the body. Meeting it with a kind and interested and relaxed attention. Making no attempt to make anything happen, but just to receive the body's experience of itself. And notice how the body, bathed in kind attention, begins a very organic process of stilling. And the stilling reveals the movements that are created when we breathe. And we let the natural movements of our body, expanding and contracting, waves of the breath, we let these waves, without trying to make it happen, just allow these waves to bring us to a calm abiding. Let the body still us, let the breath calm us. Without trying to be still, without trying to calm, Just attention to our body. Let stilling and calming happen by itself. Just this body, just this breath. I said kind and relaxed attention. I also said interested. So interested in the experience of our body sitting and breathing. Interested in the shape of the body's in-breath and the shape of the out-breath. Interested in other experiences that call our attention. Sounds, other sensations, moods, thoughts, images. Letting all of these come as they will, treating each presently arising experience as a welcome guest, but clinging to nothing, just letting them come and go. And when there's nothing compelling or predominant, we settle into the simple primary support of the sitting body and breath again and again. Moods move through like weather, thoughts like clouds, sounds arise and fade. Everything is changing. We simply relax, we rest in that natural great peace. Just know the mind, know the body just as it is. Just this moment. Mindfulness has no other agenda other than to notice the presently arising experience. It's not trying to solve any problems, fix anything, figure anything out. It just wants to know. So if thinking is in the mind, planning, commenting, just know, oh, this is commenting, this is planning. And notice how those thoughts come and they go. And if you're waking up from having been absorbed in a thought world, that's simply a moment of mindfulness, re-arising, waking up. Once you wake up to where you are, then remembering to settle your mind back into your body and let your body fill your mind. So that the support of the body's experience of sitting and breathing continues to call you here, support you, to simply be aware here, just this moment. other than keeping our mind connected to our body and our body connected to our mind. The only other adjustment is to the quality of our attention. So if you notice that you're beginning to sink into dullness, then it's perfectly wise and appropriate to refresh yourself. Begin again with your posture, coming close to the feeling of body and breath, whatever helps to wake you up to where you are. If you're straining or struggling, soften and let go a little bit so that we can receive our experience with a balanced, non-contentious awareness. Just the quality of our attention. Other than that, we welcome each presently arising objects equally, impartially. Just this moment, just this breath, body, or whatever is predominant. Just being aware. In these last couple minutes, I'd like to invite you to stop meditating and just be aware, just be mindful. Stop being a meditator, just be mindful. And just rest in that natural great peace. A straining mind, struggling mind. Just rest, just be aware. Body, breath. And when you hear the sound of the gong, just the gong. When you're ready to open your eyes, just the opening of your eyes. Just natural mind, natural awareness. Really a pleasure to sit with you. Thanks for your practice. Your presence here really is essential to maybe for yourself, but also to support other people practicing. This is just like a flock of birds. They fly together, they get where they're going easier, faster, take care of each other. So thank you for that. Lots of stray thoughts during the sitting. Occupational hazard. Well, stray thoughts about the Dharma. I'll get to those later. I am interested to hear from you. Any comments, questions, topics that emerge from the practice. Also, love to just know what you noticed. And of course, your comment, question, topic will likely be of some lift and support to someone else. So part of the blessing of being together. So is there anyone? Samira, thanks for breaking the ice. Please feel free.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I will always break the ice. I always have something to say.
Well,
Thank you, Howie. Thank you, Sangha. I really appreciate, and I'm grateful for this space. I was I was reading a book earlier. It's called We Were Made for These Times by Kyra Julingo. She is a former Buddhist nun in the Plum Village tradition, and I came across a podcast she was in a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, she's got some cool stuff to say. And the first two chapters of this book were talking about one, coming home to oneself, and then two, I forgot already.
So Samira, I love hearing what you have to say, and I want to keep it to what we experienced tonight in the practice and questions that emerge from the sitting, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll get a little bit, we can get a little too far afield, and
I understand.
you can connect it to what you experienced tonight,
Yes.
please.
Yes. I mean, that's what I was experiencing tonight. I was thinking very much about how this practice is meant to bring me home to myself, and just, the continuing struggles I am having with finding that way, and she mentioned something about finding peace and feeling joyful when she was practicing. And whereas I can touch on that sometimes, I do find that most of the time I'm still very much trying to work through this overactive mind or the pain that I'm feeling in my body.
So when you say you're trying to work through, what does that mean exactly? So I understand what you mean, because that's, in a way, that's not exactly what we're practicing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
So are you saying that you notice the impulse to try to work through things while you're sitting? Or do you, and you notice that? Because if you notice that, that's actually just another moment of mindful attention, which is fine.
I mean, it's both and. I notice it, and I'm also still working. I don't really know how to phrase this, but I recognize that there is like that part of me that is still trying to fix, that is still trying to use this practice as a means to an end.
Right.
And that brings up a lot of frustration. And
Yes. It's a hindrance to the practice. So the beauty is that each time you see it is like a gong that goes off. It's basically you're erasing that conditioning that's trying to get somewhere, which is you do out of love for yourself. You're trying to work through things and figure things out, but it actually is a kind of it's a kind of craving in the mind that creates tension. So when you see it with the eyes of loving kindness and mindfulness, you're literally replacing a moment of grasping with a moment of openness. So you don't really have to do anything about it except notice it. And the fact that you are that's a sign that the cure is beginning, that you're recognizing that conditioning, which in some ways it seems very natural and innocent to want to work through things, but it actually creates tension in the mind.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
And you can hear from my response that you keep it simple. It's just about knowing the presently arising experience and having that noticing as continuous as you can with no other agenda. It will have many, many byproducts. A lot of healing happens, but it's not because we tried to work through something.
Right.
Because working through is what's called samsara. That's endless. One thing gets worked through, in its wake comes another thing to work through. Pretty soon we're continually creating a life of postponement of the peace and happiness that she said she found in her practice.
Right.
It's great that you're noticing that.
Thank you.
That is the undoing itself.
Man.
Does that make sense or no?
No, it makes complete sense. And I'm at this place where, I have like this really strong conceptual understanding, but embodying it, feeling it, moving into a space that's more transformative. I mean,
yeah, you don't even want to think about transformative. All of that is a sign probably you've done enough reading. It's now time to just practice.
Yeah, I've done a lot of reading.
Try not to evaluate except over 10 or 20 years.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll be in great shape, promise.
Sounds good. Sounds good. It does make sense. Thank you very much. And I appreciate your patience.
Oh, my pleasure. I so appreciate your presence here.
Thank
So
you.
Mary, please feel free.
Hi, Howie. Well, actually, I really want to thank you because, I think life has been kind of a little more stressful lately in the world, and it just felt so good to just drop it all. I mean, and you do not only feel better and let go of it, but I think some of the things I was thinking about that maybe I wanted to fix were just like an insight sort of just came to me. And that's wonderful when, you're kind of letting something come through you in that way rather than,
Yes, yes,
trying
yes.
to control it.
That's
But
right. It's good for Samira to hear as well too, that insights
yeah,
pop up when we relax a little bit.
right, exactly. Yeah, what
Just
you were
connect with our
saying
life.
really was, meant so much to me. And it was also interesting, your analogy about the birds, because I think what was in the back of my mind, one of the things was that I just heard a lot of people, that they're stressed out about stuff going on in the world, feeling like they wanted to do something more, and don't know what to do. And I think that was in the back of my head. And all of a sudden, sort of like your analogy with the birds, something came up for me where I said, well, if I were in the position that some people are experiencing right now, and as a Jewish person, I can relate to, I mean, people in my community here are really being terrorized, And I said, I just felt one of the things that was most important would be to feel that you weren't alone. That it sounds like a little thing, but it's not a little thing. To feel your community is there for you, that we are the flock of birds. And,
Yes.
I think I could have thought for a year to try and figure that out, but it just came up very naturally because
Beautiful,
with your
beautiful.
meditation, I was able to relax and drop it all for a little while anyway.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very grateful to you, Helen. Thank you so much.
And you're reminding us that in our own individual bubble, so to speak, part of the fundamental delusion that our practice melts away is the delusion of separateness, and that we somehow exist independently, apart from community, apart from everything else in the world. And it's that sense of isolation that is a big stressor. And part of the point of the Dharma is to see through that self-illusion, that illusion of separateness. So you modeled that very beautifully in your insight knowledge tonight. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Lori, you have your hand. Feel free to unmute.
I don't know if I can. I think I am unmuted.
Yes, you are.
Great.
You're doing great.
I have a very, very hard time with internet. I just want to see how much I appreciated it when you said to stop meditating and just be mindful. And I wish you could go a little bit into depth, because I've always believed that no matter how much I meditated, I'm not mindful. Well, I've always said it, and I've seen people who are very, very mindful, who have been in Vietnam and who've gotten very, very mindful. And they do not like long meditations at all. They just completely wig out. And could you explain?
Well, I can't speak for people wigging out about long meditations, but I can say something about the motivation for saying what I said. Sometimes when I said stop meditating, sometimes meditating becomes trying to, and it's it's governed, it's driven by a certain greed in the mind to get somewhere, wanting something to happen. And that is a force of craving in our mind that actually creates tension. So mindfulness does not require trying to make something happen. That's why even in the middle of the practice, I said, mindfulness has no other agenda other than to just notice what's happening right now. Am I aware? What am I aware of? That's it. I'm not trying to get to the end of the rainbow, solve anything, concentrate my mind, calm my body, still my thoughts. If I try to do any of those things, I create tension. So very often when I say stop meditating, and I do this to myself, I will realize that I've been straining to make something. That there's been some greed in my mind, some desire in my mind. And it allows me, at least in that moment, to see that there can still be mindfulness without meditating, without trying. It's just natural. It's very natural to be aware. If I tell you right now to stop being aware, what happens?
I'd probably be more aware.
Well, you are more aware. You can't stop being aware. What actually stops awareness is trying to be somewhere else, trying to make something happen. And then the second part of that, as I said, stop being a meditator. Sometimes the identity of meditator also creates tension. It's as though you're wearing this thing called meditator. It's like a shroud that looks a certain way. And when I say stop being a meditator, sometimes you'll just relax and be yourself. So and that's just to check out to see whether am I getting caught in the identity of being a meditator or meditating, or am I just being mindful? It's very much more natural than we think it is.
I've always found that if you had said that earlier when we started sitting, I would have had a problem with it because my body's so tense. And when I meditate, at least I feel my body and where it is.
That's mindfulness.
But that's greed?
No, that's just feeling your body.
Okay.
Being aware of the body being tense. That's just aware of the body. That's our practice.
Yeah, just the different parts of it.
Parts of it, whatever it is that shows up.
Yeah. No, it's like hear, feel, but I usually feel a lot. So I really appreciated that though.
And whatever it is that is known to you is the practice. Could be mind is full of thoughts. Mind is full of thoughts. Mind is quiet. Mind is quiet. Heart is tight. Heart is tight. There's no privileged experience. Everything is treated equal in mindfulness.
Yeah, I found when you said to be mindful, it made me more relaxed than anything I've been doing because I had to kind of laugh. It's like, what are you doing? All you need to do is just be here and be gentle.
Anyway, glad you picked up on it.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have time for one more. If anybody would question, comment, description, topic. Glenn, please feel free.
Sure. Thank you. Really enjoyed sitting with all of you tonight, so thank you. Howie, I just really appreciated your suggestion towards the end of the meditation to, just the body, just the breath. And you said when you hear the gong, it's just the gong. And something I noticed is like that gong sounded so nice when I just let it be what it was. And so I really appreciate that. It was a little moment of joy. So
Thank you.
That's it. Short and sweet.
I felt it too because I knew that tonight everyone else could hear the gong. And the last few weeks I've been having issues
okay.
I don't know if you did, but
yeah, I didn't
maybe
hear
for different reasons than you. But
Thank you.
Yours sounds more pure, just meditative.
When it's just the gong, yeah.
It's great. Yeah, life. There's so many rich moments of if we're just present with what's happening. Thank you. Okay, I wanted to thank you for everyone for their comments, questions, etc. I wanted to last week I was talking about the Four Noble Truths and the 12 parts of the Four Noble Truths, and I really think all the teachings point to how to live our lives without so much stress, the end of stress, that in general it has more to do with the quality of our attention, our mind, our reactions, than it does whatever else is happening internally or externally. It's really the way we're relating to it. If we're relating to our life as a problem to solve, then it has that sense of not right, has that sense of lack, has that sense of, if we relate to it as a place to discover, or depending on what your mind does with your experience, what your relationship to your experience, it's all about relationship. And I have to say this because it just popped into my mind right now. My better half, my wife, Annie, over the weekend, I don't know if she'd be okay if I tell her story, but she went over her handlebars on her bicycle and broke her wrist. And she's walking around like this right now with a cast all the way up her arm. And it would be very easy to land in a particular way of relating to that is grumpy, negative, frustrated, all the elements of life that have to change on a dime after having had your wrist broken. But she immediately, her mind naturally inclined toward could be worse, toward this as a short-term blip on the screen, as not such a terrible thing, and been very consistent in just dealing with it without compounding the stress in the big stress that comes with your arm is swollen in a cast and you've really injured it intensely, but not adding anything to it other than this is what's happening. And maybe the only thing she's added to it is just appreciation of what didn't happen. And it's just another reminder of the importance of knowing our mind, knowing how we're relating to things. And when our mind meets our reactions, the default reaction may be irritation, bitterness, frustration, blaming, whatever it is. Even if that's the conditioning, for us to be able to know that our mind is reacting, it creates the open space of possibility to be able to relate to our experience a little bit less reactively. So that's why it's so useful, no matter how conditioned we are to see things in a more jaundiced light, that can be transformed, to use Samira's word, that can be transformed into openness, which is one of the functions of the cultivation of loving kindness and the cultivation of mindfulness, is that our attitude toward our experience moves from reactivity to openness. And my wife has been modeling that really well, so I want to appreciate her right now. Now, I've been a little more grumpier. Actually not. I'm so appreciative that she's generally well and healthy, but it was traumatic for me because I was present. In any case, I wanted to read a sutra tonight. Last week I said I spoke of the Four Noble Truths, and I thought about what is the most useful way to use this Tuesday night in the midst of so many things that are hard to bear in our individual lives and in the world. And I talked about just keeping perspective, the Four Noble Truths, getting inspired to practice, but really pointed to the essential importance and truth that simply coming out of the tangle of our imagined past and future and entering into a simple experience of the present moment. Whatever supports you to do that is in some ways the most important medicine that we have. To put our attention in the same place as our body as much as we can. To notice what's happening in our mind. To simply remain in the unfolding present as much as possible and use every element of our life to orient ourselves to the simple reality that there are only ever 6 experiences happening in a present moment. A moment of seeing, a moment of hearing, a moment of smelling, a moment of tasting, a moment of tactile experience, touching, and a moment of thinking. One or the other, one of those 6 experiences. And that is the all of our life in real time. And if we lose touch with that simple reality, we wander a long time confused in our mental world, which is phantasmagorical, how it creates, how it's miraculous. It is amazing if we can actually see it, how miraculously we create an imaginary version of ourselves that's come from the past, it's passing through the present, on our way to the future. And the future holds the key to happiness. And the more we live in that little storybook version of ourselves, we are often sowing the seeds of tension, of lack, of waiting, of hoping, of expecting, of planning, of fantasizing, of commenting, of judging whether or not we're getting where we want to go. And all of that is, in terms of our moment-to-moment experience, it's secondhand. It's much more a story about our situation. And in the midst of it, we tend to miss our life, which is really those 6 experiences. So our practice, why it has to be emphasized again and again and again, is to moment by moment practice, create the conditions, internal conditions, where we can have the primary hub of our life be centered around what's actually happening. And then, of course, the freedom to know how incredible our mind is at projecting versions of ourselves, projecting futures, projecting past, being able to remember, being able to plan, to fantasize, and seeing when those things are actually useful, when they're timely, when they're for my benefit and for benefit of others. Really a good thing to be able to think and to use our minds. But the hub has to be for us to be able to be somewhat free, somewhat whole, somewhat contented and at peace and happy. Samira was pointing to peace and happiness that Kyra Jewell spoke of. In order for that, we have to have some continuity of some getting used to, some stabilizing of simple, direct, moment-to-moment experience, and not look for anything but that. Wasn't it the Japanese monk poet says, Buddha means awake, but Buddha is your mind, and the way goes nowhere. Don't look for anything but this. He says, if you point your cart north when you want to go south, how will you ever arrive? He says, Buddha is your mind. The way goes nowhere. And somehow we have to remember that. So the Buddha, in his wisdom, and in the wisdom was discovered from his own direct experience, said to the monks in one of the sutras from the middle length sutras called the Majjhima Nikaya, which is entitled, this sutta is entitled Tranquility and Insight. He said, 2 things, O monks, partake of supreme knowledge. If we really want to wake up, what 2 things partake of supreme knowledge? Tranquility and insight. If tranquility is developed, and tonight, just talking about putting your mind in your body and your body in your mind, if you put your mind and body together and you attend to your breath or attend to even changing experiences in your body, the byproduct of that mind-body experience, moment by moment, the byproduct of that is tranquility, is calm. That's just in the formal practice. But I want to keep reading. If tranquility is developed, what benefit does it bring? The mind becomes developed. And what is the benefit of a developed mind? This is where it gets interesting. All lust is abandoned. And of course, the word that's translated for lust is mixed with loba, which is greed, tanha, which is craving, clinging. There's lots of words that are connected to this, but in this translation, the word lust is used. All lust is abandoned. And I'll keep reading it and then I'll go back to this thing about lust. If insight is developed, so remember the 2 things that partake of supreme knowledge, tranquility and insight. If insight is developed, what benefit does it bring? Wisdom becomes developed. So we have the mind becomes developed and wisdom becomes developed. What's the benefit of developed wisdom? All ignorance is abandoned. A mind defiled by lust is not free. Again, you can interchange craving, clinging, wanting, intense desire for sense pleasures, for what's next, for tomorrow. A mind defiled by craving is not freed, and wisdom defiled by ignorance cannot develop. Thus, monks, through the fading away of lust, there is liberation of mind, and through the fading away of ignorance, there is liberation by wisdom. He also does other sutras about the liberation through love, but this sutta is about tranquility and insight. So a mind defiled by lust is not freed, because when the mind is in a state of desire, it's essentially saying, I cannot be happy now until I work through, until I get what I want, till I get rid of what I don't want, until I can have that experience that I want, have that thing that I want, have that person that I want, or get rid of that. Both sides are a form of lust in the mind. So when the mind is colored by a sense of lack, when that becomes a hindrance to tranquility, becomes a hindrance to a developed mind, becomes hindrance to the freedom that comes, the contentment that comes, the peace and happiness that come from a mind that is developed, that is suffused with a sense of I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. How do I know that? Here I am. My mind momentarily is free of desire to be anywhere else. And the beauty of our practice is if we're practicing mindfulness, we'll start to notice that there are many more of those in our life than we even appreciate. There are many moments when we're not wanting something that's not here. We're not resisting something that's here, or we're not wanting something that's not here. Did I say that already? Yes. And if we're able to sense those moments where the mind is free of greed, free of lust, free of wanting things to be different, the noticing of that with mindful attention enhances the experience of freedom. And when that experience of freedom is sensed, that itself becomes the cause of that one desire that no other desire can fulfill, which is the desire for freedom. It's not the desire that takes time. There's no salvation in time. If you can't find it here, you can't find it anywhere. And that's really how it develops, is just moment by moment, noticing our body, noticing the breath, noticing the presently arising experience. And then in that continuity of noticing, there comes many moments where you're not wanting to be somewhere else. I admit, there are many moments. It's one of my most frequent mindfulness objects, is my mind wanting something to happen, or wanting something to be over, and especially with our politics and our I have to stay out of that realm right now and stick with the Dharma here, because I think it's the medicine we need to be able to accommodate the capture of views that has taken place so intensely around every issue, to stay fresh. But it's interesting, even though it's such a frequent visitor, the mind that wants something to happen, or is waiting or hoping or expecting, each time that's noticed, it opens up that space where nothing is missing. Every desire has been fulfilled. That's the moment of mindful. That's the cutting through that comes with mindful attention. So I could go on and on about lust, greed in the mind as a kind of hindrance, as a kind of defilement of the natural purity of mind that is ever available, ever present when we're simply aware. But I want to move on to the next part, when the Buddha says, through the fading away of ignorance, there is liberation by wisdom. So, interestingly enough, ignorance, what does ignorance mean? It doesn't mean you're an ignorant person. It's not about stupidity. It's not about being a low information person or whatever often is described as an ignorant. Ignorance has a specific meaning in Buddha Dharma, that you are, one, ignorant of your capacity to be free. That's one thing. Two, you are caught in three fundamental misperceptions and because of those misperceptions, ignorance drives us to want more and wait more and expect more and try to become more. And what are those three misperceptions, the fundamentals of ignorance? the misperception of not understanding that whatever arises passes away, that everything is marked by impermanence. And so the misperception is that you take something that is impermanent to be more solid, more stable than it is. And because you don't recognize impermanence, you fail to recognize, you, I, we, all of us, we fail to recognize that whatever is arising and passing cannot give any kind of lasting satisfaction. It is marked by unsatisfactoriness, unreliability, as a source of well-being and happiness, or as a primary source of well-being and happiness. So the first misperception is perceiving the impermanent to be substantial, solid, to perceive the unsatisfactory to be a source of permanent happiness. And then the third misperception is mistakenly taking, how can I say this without turning it into a Dharma talk, taking those changing conditions of mind and body, taking that which is not myself, taking that to be myself, taking it to be self, imposing a view that whatever is happening to a solid somebody that's behind it all. That the pain in life is happening to me. This always happen. The never, the view that victim, the reinforcement of a view of self, and not recognizing that a view of self is not self, an experience of self is not self. It's another changing condition. It's not myself. So when those three misperceptions are seen through with the eye of insight, one sees everything that arises passes away, that which arises and passes away is marked by unreliability, and what arises and passes cannot be myself. When someone sees that, the mind is liberated by wisdom, and the force of the momentum of greed in the mind, of grasping, of waiting, of hoping, of wanting, is lessened. And then the idea being is that then your life increasingly, and this is a gradual process, life increasingly becomes very concentrated in present time. And we come back to where we started, which is seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. So I'll read the sutta once more. Two things, O monks, and you're all monks for this, as you've gone forth from your routine of your daily life into practice tonight. Two things, O monks, partake of supreme knowledge. What two? Tranquility and insight. If tranquility is developed, what benefit does it bring? The mind becomes developed. And what is the benefit of a developed mind? All lust is abandoned. If insight is developed, what benefit does it bring? Wisdom becomes developed. And what is the benefit of developed wisdom? All ignorance is abandoned. A mind defiled by lust is not freed, and wisdom defiled by ignorance cannot develop. Thus, monks, through the fading away of lust, there is liberation of mind. Through the fading away of ignorance, there is liberation by wisdom. So may we all have tranquility and wisdom. May we all experience the cessation of greed in the mind. May we all experience the cessation of delusion or ignorance in the mind. May we all be liberated. And may our practice of liberation, remember this is a liberation teaching, May our practice of liberation be of benefit. May it be the cause of liberation for all beings, not just for ourselves. So thanks for listening. Howie G, I'm going to pass it on to you. I will say before I give it to Howie G, a week from Sunday, what day is the 24th? Could somebody tell me? Is that a Sunday or a
Sunday?
Sunday. Next Sunday, the 24th, I will be leading a day long at Spirit Rock in person. Come one, come all. It's a beautiful thing. 10 to 3, we'll just sit and walk and talk about the Dharma, and chance for you to really marinate, cook, cultivate tranquility and insight. So hope to see you then. Howie G, all yours. Please stick around for a few minutes. Oh yeah. You are muted.
Now I am muted. Now I'm not muted. Thanks, Howie. While I'm talking, take a look at the chat because I have included 3 things. One is a way you can register for for that Sunday, the 24th, with Howie at Spirit Rock. Another one, if you could do it right now, if you don't mind, we're still trying to get a sense of, we're doing a survey or a poll about start times for what people prefer a good start time for this Sangha. Maybe the time it is, maybe wherever zone you're in, maybe a half hour earlier, whatever. So we have a couple of options. And lastly, and equally important, if not more important, is Dana. There's also a thing, I put a post in the chat about Dana. It's for those of you who've only heard it 10 million times. Dana is a incredibly important part of this whole practice. It keeps this Sangha going and it keeps the study going. And it's there to help Howie and the other teachers that take his seat continue a tradition that's been going on here locally for 35 years and thousands, hundreds of however long since the Buddha. So please very much take a look at the chat. If you miss it, if you don't have a chance, all this information is in the email that you got. And thank you so much for whatever you can give and share. Thanks for being here. I always appreciate it.
Thanks for your giving of support to the Sangha through co-hosting, and rest of you, please feel free to unmute and say goodnight to each other, and thanks in advance for your generosity. Love being with you and getting a chance to kind of, Samira, work through my notions about the Dharma. Anyway, thank you.
Best to your wife. Best to your wife, Howie.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll pass it on. She was with us early, but she can't listen to me sometimes. Anyway, good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Howie.
I'll
Thank you,
I
everyone.
appreciate
Good night.
you all so much.
Thank you.
Love to everyone.
Hope your wife feels well
Thank
too.
you.
And your
Night.
thumb or your finger too.
Any idea,
Thank you.
Annie, for me?
I'll definitely say something. Thank
Bye,
you all.
Howie. Thank
Good
you.
night. Thank you.
Thank you, Howie. Thank you,
Thank you,
Sangha.
everyone.
Yeah.
Good night.
Everybody, wonderful Dharma talk. Thank you.
You.
I agree. Beautiful.
Good night, all.